Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander, and I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, my co-host Barbara will be on here soon, but the subject of today's show is really the transgender debate, or the issue of transgenderism. This is about what both sides say and to discuss it, the views of both sides. I believe that, when you deal with both sides, it's really makes everything more clear on what you believe or what you feel, And sometimes when we talk about issues, we don't know what we think, until somebody poses an argument to us or hears both sides of it. I remember when I was taking political science, and we had to write an essay on a view of a subject. And then we had to write a paper talking about the opposing viewpoint. And the purpose of this was to show, both sides of it, to understand both sides of it, to understand that once you see both sides of an argument, that you'll be able to argue it better, And, a lot of times I think people don't seem to really do that a lot because they get threatened by the opposing argument. And I think that it's important to see both, and rather than just see one, So that's what's important. That's what makes things work well in our country, in our society, is to understand both sides of it so that we can take care of everything. When people want to pass legislation, and or win an election or pass laws, and let's see here. Barbara, are you there?
Yes, and I have been here. Although now, Johnny, please continue what you're saying, and I need to take the break that I said I was going to take.
Okay.
I'll be back in 5 minutes, and then we can start the show.
That's
you.
Okay.
And
That's perfectly
I'm sorry
fine.
for the inconvenience, everybody.
No, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly
okay.
fine. Glad you're here.
All right.
But I think that what is important is debate in our society. The importance of debate as far as, because what is important to remember is that when we pass a law, we debate before we pass it. When we have an election, we debate before we decide who gets in. And when we have a court case, we debate to take care of the court case. You understand? So this is why it's important to understand something, that people have tried to pass legislation to to make something a law or make something legal, a certain in stone. And usually when somebody says, I don't want to debate, well, then that's tells me at least that they're not willing to go through what they have to go through to get it something changed. They think that all they have to do is be upset, and then that's enough to make something a law. And I don't think that's enough. I mean, I was born with a disability, and I have always never let people, just assume that they knew how to treat me, because of, that's something that people don't know. And to assume that, you don't have to debate to get something, that's nonsense. You have to debate to get something. So this is why it's important to pay attention to what both sides are saying, and also pay attention to, the fact that we have First Amendment rights and people can say whatever they want to say, There's a purpose with the opposing arguments that, we hear. And opposing arguments are part of life. They're part of our world, And that is why we are doing the show that we're doing today. I mean, it's, I think that to understand the issue, you have to look at both sides. And, I have been on TikTok quite a bit, and I have heard the transgender debate quite a bit, both sides, not just one. I have questions for both sides. It's not just that I have questions for one side, or I do have questions for, both sides of the coin. Okay. But just because I have questions doesn't mean that I'm not somebody who will listen. You understand? And Barbara, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I was listening to you. It sounds kind of interesting. All I heard was, even if you don't agree, or I can't remember exactly, you still will listen? What are you...
Well, what
okay.
I said, yeah.
I've missed a lot in 7 minutes, it sounds
That's okay.
like.
I'll go ahead and paraphrase what I said, and then we can go on. I think you have to understand both sides of the issue to be able to give an intelligent opinion on it. And I believe that, I have been on TikTok quite a bit, and I have heard the transgender debate very, very, a lot of it. And I said that I have questions for both sides of it. Both sides.
Oh, you do?
Yes, both sides. And
well, that's questions. You were talking about you have to understand something about each side. Then you're on to questions. What? Okay, and then you said that you know each side. Okay, well, what do you know, and why is that important to know?
Okay.
The sides, and what are you talking about?
Sometimes there's two different perspectives. Like, okay, do you want to know what my questions are for both sides?
Okay, if that gets you into, the point, because I find it very interesting. I missed the opening of the show. I thought maybe you would wait to start, chit-chat with people, so I did not know I missed anything.
That's okay. What it is that on the side of the people who say they're transgender, what I hear a lot is that they were going through an identity thing, and they said they would say, well, I was this close to just ending my life and everything. And the problem with saying that is that you have pretty much forced your family into doing something, whether they agree with it or not.
Has
Like,
this happened?
well, yeah.
I know
it's
it's been a trend.
Yeah,
I
it's
overheard. No, I talked to my daughter about it, and she said, yes, that is a trend that
right.
they are saying that, but it's half the people. I didn't see it. They're not taking it seriously. What is your stance on it?
The problem is that it's not an intellectual thing to say. I mean, it's very good at making somebody do something. You understand? Like, that's the thing. It's excellent at getting somebody to do something, because once you feel like once you feel like a gun is being put to your loved one's head, you're going to do whatever they say. You're gonna
Maybe not.
A
lot of people are tired. There's so many different scenarios.
Right, and so I think that's my problem with the transgender side, is that they need to be able to argue, but not use these people are going to end their lives if you don't give them whatever they want. Now, my problem on the opposing side, the ones that are arguing against it, is that they always say that people who are transgender are miserable and none of them are happy and everything. But here's the deal. Every time I turn on a show where the topic is discussed, it's always transgender person and doctor who gets up there and talks about how everybody is miserable. The thing is, though, these people that are miserable have First Amendment rights. So why aren't they on the stage with them? You see, you never see these rallies with the people who were miserable. It's always some doctor who says.
So are you saying that half the people are happy?
Well, what I'm saying is that if they're so miserable, where are they? Like, I'll tell you this right now. I don't know.
I don't know. That's like a broad thing, and
what?
No, I'm imagining you right down there in that park with the imaginary people on a pulpit right now. And I'm really, really trying to get what your point is. Okay, so you're talking about statistics of happiness within the transgender community. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, actually wanted to talk about this topic, discuss it, because I want to know more, like, intimate details of what do you think about it? Do you have relationships with people who are transgender?
Oh, I have friends with some transgender people. Yes,
okay.
I am friends.
Is this in person?
It's on the internet, but I can tell you that there's a spectrum. Like, some are very open to dialogue, and then there's other people that just don't want to hear it. Hold on,
I'm sorry. Did you say that these are people that you met on the internet?
They're on the internet that I've met in various Instagram and TikTok and everything.
Okay, I'm not talking about that though, Johnny. I'm asking, like, I don't care. Just say no. You've never worked with one or met one, and maybe then I could actually tell my interesting stories of the ones that I have worked with and met, that I have intimate details with and about. But anybody has relationships with people on the internet. That is not what I'm talking about. Your social, technology where you don't ever meet them. It's just on the internet, you don't really meet them in person where you look at them in their eyes and touch them, or it's not even on the telephone. I'm trying to just ask you, you don't have to have done it, okay? Just say no. Okay. Just say no, and then we'll be able to move on. All right. Okay. All right. Well, was this a neighbor of yours?
I won't say what it is for this person's privacy, but I can tell you that I have interacted with them numerous times as this person was growing up in real life. And
when did you first see that they were, I don't know, maybe you never knew. Did they tell you they were transgender? Did you notice they were a little masculine or feminine? I don't know which. Were you looking at them strange? Why did they tell
Well,
you?
what happened was they started growing. This was a male, and he started growing his hair really, really, really long. And then he started. Now, that's what I noticed. But one of the things that I picked up that made me ask more questions was this: is that when you talk about yourself, Barbara, you don't go on. Well, let me explain this. When this trans person will talk about themselves, they would always, in every sentence, say that they're female, even though it wasn't something that somebody would have to say. Yes, I'm a woman. It's like, hello, how are you? Tell me I'm a woman.
I don't think so.
But
for one thing, hold on. You get the chance at the beginning and all of your explanations and being Mr. Neutral. And you know what? I'm sitting here hanging in the wings, never given a chance to even have one bit of rebuttal.
Okay.
So everybody's probably thinking, oh, that girl, she must really hate transgenders.
No,
She's just sitting there like,
Okay,
well, you know what? Give me a break. Yes, that's how I'm looking right now. I do deserve to have a little bit of talk here.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, it is called Transgender Talk, or whatever you did end up titling it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have no problem with transgender people. In fact, when I shop at a certain store, I don't really notice at first. I do notice, I think in my mind as I approach, in both different stores, it's a cashier. I'm approaching this person for the first time. I then say, hi, ma'am or miss, whatever they say. And then I am taken aback because if I'm thinking that's a female, this is a woman, and I hear a male voice coming out, I am taken aback a little, and then I can't help it if I did do a little quick double take. I don't mean to. Because they are people. And then I go through my transaction just fine. They never have to tell me who they are. In fact, those two people, now that I've had their line a couple times, they're very gracious. But the dead giveaway is the voice. And the one at the other store, well, I'm not going to say what kind of store because I don't want people narrowing this down, where I go or anything like that. It is a teenager, I'm sure. And I believe, they are very good at their eyeshadow and their eyebrows. They have a feminine quality, and then they just want to just ease right into being a female. I see this so much more. I'm not saying I want to go picket and raise my raise awareness, everybody, and support it. I don't. But I am saying that out there, as you're walking around, just be kind. They're human beings. My very first experience, it was the voice once again. I was 18 years old, and I was a flight attendant trying to make copies in the copy machine. I guess it wasn't working very well, and I heard a voice behind me saying, "Let me help you," and it was very deep and masculine. I turn around. This is years ago, okay? This was in the late 80s. All right, I turn around. I'm 18 or 19, and there is I still think it's a man, but it's supposed to be a woman because it has the skirt. See, that's where the pronouns come in, because they don't want to be called it, okay? Because we didn't know what to call them. Actually, it's convenient. Thank you, okay? But it seems like very inconvenient for us to have to go find out what their pronoun is every time. So I'm thinking that's probably why they have to say hello and let you know immediately. And that's probably why you are wondering, why do they have to stand up and say, hey, I am this? That's probably why. Because probably that's how it all, I'm just figuring it out right now. It started out because they didn't want to be called it. So she had a shirt on, and the bra was not a nude flesh color underneath. It was white, no T-shirt. Okay, so then you could see the crisscross 24-hour bra under there, plain as day, like a poker kind, like she really wanted to go for that bra. And a woman knows you wear a nude color under white so it doesn't show through like that. So it just was that, and then it, very obvious brown bob wig. And then you get to know the flight crew that you're flying with, the pilot and the co-pilot. You go out with them. It's fun. It's just the crew of 3. I had my own plane with them as a flight attendant. And so they tell you about it. They were not mean, but this was so many years ago. Companies had to accept it back then. I wondered all about it. I did not cause any hoopla, but this is no new thing. People have been, well, they probably used to call it struggling. They don't want to call it struggling with anymore. They want to just be it without having to struggle to get there. I think I just figured that one out too. Well, how do you feel? I mean, I guess it's different when you have a child that is, well, very young these days. They're coming to you with this and they want to do the change. I've read a lot about it. The parents say no, they highly resist it. The child does not do it, and then in the later teenage years has written that they are very, very thankful and glad their parents stopped them. So that is the more deeper issue where I am, that's what I'm concerned with, if that ever happened. I know my daughter, and that's not going to happen. Yeah. But a lot of people said that. I don't want to bring my personal life into it, but I'm just saying, if you could put yourself into the shoes of these parents, maybe they're very religious, and their morals just do not accept it. So, hey, if that person's saying I'm going to kill myself or be this, a lot of them would say, then so be it, to answer your question.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I remember I was reading somewhere that the person who played, he was in Shrek, and he played, I think it's Prince Charming in Shrek 2, that when he was young, he all thought about transitioning, but he decided against it. He was in the movie My Best Friend's Wedding.
How many years ago was this?
That he decided that he didn't want to transition when he was young, like a kid.
I know, but I'm wondering what year it is so I could try to evaluate how it's changed. Right now it's rampant. There's so many coming, wanting. How many years ago was this?
How old he was.
I don't know who he is. And I don't want to go search a bunch of places for this person at all. But that's interesting. It's very interesting. Okay, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? I have another person who was a close neighbor of mine, brown bob wig too, exact same way that they wore the shirt and the bra, and it was totally a man, very large hands, but I sat with Helen many times, my neighbor, and they explained it, and they actually were married, and as a man, I guess they would probably call it a male figure. Well, there's all kinds of names they've made up for different things. Let's just call it now a male figure, then divorced. His wife became transsexual, surgery and all. My neighbor then just changed his name to Helen and was went by she, her pronouns. Which now we know that's what that's about. Because people would never know are they going to get offended if I know that used to be, Uncle Gary, and now it's, I cannot say he, but they don't know. So it's then making it easier for the family. Okay, this is my name, and these are my pronouns that I would like you to use. Then it makes it easier for everybody. Well, that's what I think people need to know. Just who cares if they're telling you their pronouns? If you care about them as a human being and you ever might use their name, or you might want to say, thank you, ma'am, or hi, how are you, ladies? It might be a group of them. It's nice to know. I do not have a problem with it, actually. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to stop them from wanting to be different genders. I do believe that it's going too far with people just feeling like they want to be a part of a group. And I'm pretty sure these people are a part of it, this group, where they dress up in these big Furby costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Even their whole head, and they're huge, and I'm imagining very uncomfortable and hot and stinky. And that's part of the allure. They like sweat in them, and that is borderlining on sexually sadistic stuff and weird. Okay, and they go out with lollipops and speak weird stuff that isn't making sense. And I think those types of groups and clubs are giving the bad name to these people who had struggled with it, now are opened up about it and want to just be left alone, probably. So you go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, like the Furbies. I mean, I don't know a whole lot of Furbies, but I mean, every time I see them, I always think of those mascot costumes that people wear and the mascots wear. Yeah, they're like, I mean, when they, but
well, you can handle it, but mascot, it's all in fun. They'll find somebody to do it. But these people are going out because they really love it, and they're spending thousands of dollars on these costumes, custom made. Did you know that? And they're into it.
No, I didn't know that.
My daughter keeps me abreast of these things. She's 16 and she watches TikTok, so she sees everything. I don't have time to watch, just lay there and TikTok away, which that's what it is, isn't it? TikTok, your time. I mean, time flies when you do stuff like that. I love it when she comes over and says, hey, look at this one and that one, and I get a couple laughs in, and then I'm fine. I actually just put a little TikTok video together. Then I use it on Reels. I've been making money on Reels, which is great, just having the checks all funnel into a certain account. And like anything, it adds up. Before you know it, I'm not going to say, but hey, people, do your Reels. If I think of doing them more often, then it's better. Then I just get these surprise direct deposits. It's pretty good. And then I put it all through metadata. So I make these Reels. I also put a lot of them, I share them with our Life Laughter Happiness people, so you can go over there too, people. We're all connected. So anyway, can we get back to, sorry everybody if you were really into the transgender discussion. I think it's very interesting. I have been watching a lot of YouTube videos that people have strong views about it. And I like what they say, too, and they're very adamantly against it. And I see the total moral, when you get down to it, those values and marriage, and how the Christians very much believe it's only to be between a male and a female, man and woman.
Oh, yeah.
And they are very up in arms, and because they literally just they think it's a sin. But those are the same people who think being gay is sin and throwing out choir directors and all that. When I was young, I watched that happen because this man came out, and that's what he got. And this congregation was huge. It was Baptist. And I was like 8 or 9, definitely 8 years old. I still lived in this little town at that time, and I know I was 7 or 8. And they kicked that very good head of music and just the singing and amazing. Everybody just loved his music at this huge church. And they got up. The pastor got up, and he was very proud. He announced it to the whole congregation. And I even remember how mean it was back then. I thought it was mean and very, not even revengeful, because he didn't do anything to anybody except for just say, hey, I'm gay. But it was just pure, seemed kind of cruel. It was cruel. To get up there in front of the whole congregation. And I just remember he was proud that he did that. And I think that even people clapped.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. They love it. It's really a slight form of burning somebody on the stake, like if they thought they were a witch or if they were an adulterer. It is. It's a form of slight, just let's get them. They deserve it. There's, kind of funny things, like when Will Smith did go and hit Chris Rock. I mean, there was something in me that was glad that, kick him out of the academy. That's a little different.
It wasn't Chris Rock. It was Will Smith.
Or no, Will Smith hits Chris Rock. Isn't that what I said?
Yes. No, you said something about Chris Rock, and then you said...
Oh, maybe you missed it, because I thought I said Will Smith at first. Okay, so I'll pick up the pace a little bit. It's a little different, though, because, wow, that was crazy and nutty, and, he did deserve to get kicked out, and it's just more of, that's more like justice. But this one, oh my gosh, they'll just bash people who are transgender. And I just want to say I'm sorry for anybody who is in the person's life that is affecting. And that's very hard, because if you're the parent, what are you thinking? Well, why? Well, why not you? I'm thinking, that's not ever going to happen. Well, I really do know my daughter. A lot of people out there don't know their children. So get down to those children when they're really little and always talk to them and keep very strong communication so that they feel like they can also be themselves. Let them be themselves. If they feel like they can't live up to you, or you expect them to be somebody they're not, maybe they do somewhat gravitate towards changing this way more. So I think we just need to start at the core and just do our best from there. And hey, everybody, the rest, we aren't always in control of. So try to let go as best you can. Stay kind, calm, cool, and collected, because you don't want to end up on those videos that everybody loves to laugh at. Like those people in the airport and all those funny ones where they get kicked off the plane. I mean, they go crazy. So you don't want to...
Oh, yeah, you saw that one about the lady?
Oh, there's so many about ladies. So many. It's funny. It's not funny. do they even know? Some of them may not even know that they are up there. They're just like these normal housewives, a lot of them.
Yeah.
They just have maybe 2 drinks instead of the normal 1 because they're traveling. And then it just hits them wrong. They get triggered, and then, no. They're all flustered, and they've got so much stuff all over them, and people are staring, and they just go crazy. So we don't want to do that, and we especially don't want to do it. Sometimes Alexa thinks I'm talking to her when I'm doing the show. Yeah, and then she just starts playing music. Isn't that funny?
What did she say?
I don't know. Well, I have to say her name, and then I say play music, you know? So something in my sentence must have sounded like that. I don't want to say it right now, but it is very interruptive. Haha. No, I can go over there. I can push a button to where for the hour it's not bothering us, but forgot to. So, Johnny, do you ever come across transgender people? And if not, that's okay. If you're somebody like me who goes to a store and they're at a cashier working there and something like you hear the voice and it doesn't match the person you see, are you surprised, or
Actually,
what do you think, or do you not think anything, or are you even more intrigued?
That really doesn't happen to me. I don't really run into them that much, except on TikTok and on the internet, but not in real life, though.
Oh, hold on. Do they go by that? Do they go by them? I don't really run into them.
I've seen some online that like to be referred to as they, or, you know.
But how do you put that into that sentence?
You know, I don't know. I know that there's lots of other pronouns that they use, so I don't know.
You could say, they haven't crossed my path.
That's right. They haven't crossed my path.
But so you can't use them.
Right.
For some reason, them is not. No, I just made that up. I don't even know. Is them fine?
Well, them
I really don't know. I'm asking you.
The only problem with them is that them involves more than one person, you know.
So then what would you use? You would have to know if they are.
What I would use, they.
And they never go by male or female, because that is the proper term for it. Physically, if you are a doctor, you are going to say male or female. But why do they say there's only 2? Because some people are born hermaphrodites.
Well, I think what they're saying is that there's never been a case where a person can do everything that a man can do, everything that a woman can do. Like, in other words, a man, they've never had a man that can actually give birth. And, it's like, what I'm trying to say is that there's never been a person that's been born that can have the physical attributes of both sexes. Be able to give birth and
to fertilize as well.
Right. In other words, have a penis and a vagina, but then have them both, but then, be able to use them both.
So they have not, nobody's been that. Yeah, I just did repeat that.
I don't think anybody's had that happen yet. No, it's sort of like, usually there's either one or the other. You understand?
Okay, then the doctor can determine that, but maybe they can't determine if you are born unless they can see the amount of eggs you have in you, or if you have any eggs in you as a woman, that you're born with eggs. You are.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm...
fish. Okay, so, no, that is very interesting, but I don't think the doctor can really tell all of that, those details, until later. So when you're born, they mark you down as whatever they think they see the most of. Right. And then, but that's just a small percentage. These people are not going through this because they are born that way. They're born with female anatomy or male. They are mentally feeling this way. Do you have anything you can add about why you think that? Do you think they're born with that gene of thinking that way?
This is what I'll say. This is what I think. Okay. When you're born, all right, or when somebody is born, like say Priscilla. Let's use Priscilla for an example. Okay. And Priscilla is born, and she looks down at her hands for the first time, and she discovers she has hands. Okay, she doesn't know what to do about the fact that she has hands. But what happens is she adapts to the fact that she has hands. A good example of this, just so you know, this actually does exist. There are people who want to have one of their legs amputated. They ask for it.
No way.
Because they feel that one of their legs isn't supposed to be there. There are people who have asked to be surgically blinded because they feel it's a word for it. And I'm not making this up. And I think that what happens is with the transgender people is that they don't adapt to their bodies. And because they don't adapt to it, they want to reject it. You understand? It's kind of like because the reason I say that is that back to what I was saying about the constant saying I'm one thing, is that I really believe that we don't run around and say like I don't run around and say I'm a man. I think what it is that I adapted to who I was. I adapted to it, and
I get that because a lot of people are even tomboys, but that's okay because of course we have all of these different kind of both traits and characteristics. We are more in tune sometimes with our feminine side or our male side, but a lot of people are aware of that. I've had a boyfriend who has said, I'm in tune with my feminine side, and really, they knew that. Okay,
right. And
so
I think
that's normal.
I think what happens with you is that, and I think this is, I'm sure you'll agree with this, you don't run around, you never did ask yourself, am I a woman? You wanted to find out what being a woman meant. You understand? To you is what it is. I think you constantly, just like I try to determine what being a man means. I never wondered if I was a man. I tried to determine, okay, I'm a man, what does this mean? And does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I also, I love being a woman. I loved being a girl. I never felt like, oh, shoot, I wish I was a boy. I feel more like a boy. I have felt, fun, like tough in sports, playing with my brother. And there was like, it's not like, oh, you're a girl, I'm a boy. And it felt like great to be equal many, many times. That could have been more because it was a sibling too. But I really do love to dress like, I think it's sexy, right. The androgynous look with, a woman who has like the men's suit on, but it's fitted to her. I think it's very nice. I love the look. The trousers.
Sorry, go on.
The trousers, the fashion, the androgynous, they call it, where it's very male influenced. I think it's very cool. It's chic. I like doing it. And, when you part your hair on the side and it's very sleek. But, also, people are interested. They're kind of curious. That's why they have those apps on the phone where you can look into the camera and turn your face into a male or a female. And I saw myself with a little scruff and a beard, and I thought, oh, no. It looks like a wimpy, like I look like a wimpy man. I'd rather look more Rugged.
Well,
So
yeah, it's more like,
it's funny.
I think what it is that is just that I don't think you never ran around questioning whether or not you're a woman. I think what you did was you said, okay, all right, I'm a woman. Because I think there's another side to this. A lot of times people have said that the opposite of a man is a woman. What they don't realize is that for some people, the opposite of being a man is a boy. In other words,
Oh, right.
the man is when saying that someone is a man, it's oftentimes viewed as a personality trait or a maturity state. They like there are people that you might run into in your life. And I say people because you may not feel that they've even earned the right to be called a man because they have no character, or a woman because they have no character. And so you might have spent some years trying to say, okay, well, I'm a woman. What does it mean to be a woman with character? To say you have character, to say that you're a woman. Well, you did a lot of things on your own that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily do, but you made the choice. Like, you were a playmate. You did a lot of ballroom dancing stuff. Those are things that you did because you wanted to do it, not because somebody told you to do it. You understand? So, in other words...
Well, yeah, but now I'm, drifting off. Now, what... Okay, what does that have to do with it? Not that you're not making your point. I just personally...
What I'm trying to say is that the term woman doesn't always mean opposite of man. You understand? I think that some people, the term woman means maturity. Does that make sense? Yeah,
but then what? So, and?
Well, what I'm saying is that because of that fact, it has to do with the identity of the term woman takes on a different form when you are saying you're a man because you're not talking about being a child. You understand?
Yes. So is that where all of these different words started to form, and they really have their own vocabulary? I bet we could pull it up. And there was one, I thought cis, that must mean they just feel a little more feminine. But no, you told me, Johnny, you knew exactly what cis was. Please tell the listeners what that is.
Cis is the transgender's
right?
word. Cis is the transgender word for who you and I are.
Cis I don't like that word.
I know, I don't like it either.
So is that how they feel when we call them something that they don't like? And what would that be that they don't like so much? What was that? That it and them, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that they have that's what cis means. It means somebody, a person who is not transgender. So,
do you have any more words for us?
That's it. That's all I know. I mean,
you've got to know more. I'm going to have to look it up then because this is interesting. So Are people up in a roar about being called cis or not really?
It depends. Some people don't like the word cis, to be honest with you. There's a lot of people that don't because they feel that it's a label that's being forced on them that they don't want,
Where are you seeing this the most?
On TikTok. I've seen it on TikTok. There's tons of TikTok lives that are talking about people that don't like the word cis,
Oh, really? So is this kind of a new word they've come out with?
I would say in a few years ago, for a few years, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've pulled up some stuff. Well, this one looks professional. It's Stanford University. Basic definitions. Assigned female at birth. AFAB, or female assigned at birth. FAB. Do they actually say FAB? Okay. I think they do. AFAB or FAB. Okay. Assigned male. MAB. Assigned sex. Okay. No, I don't think these... Okay, let me get my glasses. Have you looked this stuff up? Sorry, everybody. Gender neutral pronouns. I am trying to learn about it. The binary gender. Binary. Okay, tell us what that means.
Well, binary has to do with the idea that it's just one or two. That's the bi, like bicycle, you know. They feel that when they say gender is binary, what they mean is that there's only two genders, male and female. But the people who are saying that gender is not binary means that there's more than one, that it's a spectrum. You know, male and female is a spectrum.
Okay,
male
and they
and
also
female is what?
Gender neutral pronouns include singular if they're just neutral, meaning
but
okay.
I can tell
so
you,
them is okay. It's part of it. They, them,
but what
their.
I was tell you
But there's
is
A and M and ear, Z, here, her, here's spelled with an IRS. What's that about after you tell us what you wanted to say?
Well, no, I don't know what those are. I can tell you this, though. What it is, this is what they say, that there is two sexes, male and female. But gender has to do with how you live your life. Like, your gender is female because you dress like a female, you wear dresses like a female. They say my gender is male because I dress like a male, I act like a male. But, you know, sex is what you're born with. So they're saying you can change your gender, but you can't change your sex. That's what they say.
And people are not liking that. They're saying that. And
not so much, yeah. What people do is they say that gender, that there really is just two genders, male and female. And by the way, we have a caller, but I haven't seen.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to put this person through?
Yes, we can hang up if we don't like them. If they say one wrong thing, we're just going to hang up on you.
Right.
All right.
A caller?
Hello, caller.
Yeah, hi. I saw the title and the headline, so I thought I'd find out what you guys were talking about.
Hi, you sound familiar. What is your name?
Yeah, Joe.
Yes, Joe. So tell us what you've heard. Have you heard the whole show?
No, I just got here.
Oh.
So you picked up right away. Like I said, I saw the headline, and I wanted to find out on what particular topic of issue of the transgender issues that we'd be talking about.
We just wanted to talk about it because it's out there so much, and just how we are feeling. What have we come across? Johnny has not come across them. I do. I haven't felt that they are pushing anything on me, and it happened to me 40 years ago. I think it was 35 years ago when I was a flight attendant working with a co-pilot. Okay, I was the flight attendant. They were the assistant pilot. Okay, that was a long time ago for me. But it was there all happening. I was just trying to tell Johnny, I just came to a realization, maybe these people don't want to say, hey, I was struggling with it. They really just want to say, hey, this is me. Can I just, live? So how do you feel about it, Joe? You called right in? Or is it because you love Johnny and me?
Yeah, that's right. I somehow your vibes just emanated throughout the ether, and that drew me in.
Well, where are you living?
Montana.
Montana, okay. So Montana, is it out there in the country you live?
Yeah, right.
You might not see very many transgender people.
Oh, yeah. But it's an issue that's kind of interesting, especially when you see the talk shows on TV. So I wanted to find out, what it was that you guys were going to talk about, but you're asking me my particular opinion now.
Well, you're going to have to, we can't redo our whole entire show. We're almost done. and retell
Yeah.
because people have already listened to it. Sorry,
Right.
Joe. I mean, come on. I was just telling you a little bit about it. We're not here to bash the transgender people. We have pointed out a couple of things. Some of them get into odd clubs wearing full Furby costumes that they spend $5,000 a pop on, custom made for them, like a mascot, fur mascot, and they have groups that they go out for hours in these. They wear them all day long. These are weird. That is concerning to me. Also, that what doctor is changing the genitalia of children? Isn't this something that they have to decide when they're 18? I mean, the parents are able to say, yes, go ahead. I guess. I mean, it's right there along with abortion. Why should we tell them what to do with their body? People are letting their teenagers get breast augmentation and nose jobs and all kinds of things before they even know how they're fully developed. So I guess that's the way. We can't stop people from changing their body, right? Which seems weird that a child in elementary age can have this surgery, don't you think?
I think it's even weirder when you have parents like Charlize Theron pushing her own particular views on the child. Or there's the case of the mother who has a boy, and she and her husband get into fights about who should have custody. Now, she's trying to change the boy into a girl. He doesn't want to change from a boy into a girl. So when he does go to his father on the weekends, whenever the mother allows it, the boy tells him that. But when he is with the mother, she forces him to dress up in girly clothes, wear a skirt and stuff like that.
How does the boy feel?
Like I said, the boy does not want to do any kind of changing. He feels like a boy. He doesn't feel like a girl. He doesn't want to be termed or looked at as a girl.
Well, of course,
but he
that's
doesn't
wrong.
have a choice.
I mean, that's using the child, and that is abusive treatment to that child.
I would think so.
Yeah, it is. But I want to ask you, okay, is this mother really wanting that boy to be a girl, or is she thinking that he really seems like a girl, or is she just trying to piss off the dad?
Doesn't matter. The boy doesn't want it. The boy has made it clear
it doesn't matter.
He doesn't want it.
It doesn't matter.
No,
but so your point
is
what? That, these are bad parents using this, and it's abusive. But how do you personally feel about, say, you're out and about, and you cross paths, or one joins the group, or you are working with a transgender person? Maybe you don't want to tell us. How do you feel about it? I'm fine with it.
Well, I don't care. If a person's a transgender, they can consider themselves, they can identify as tree trunks if they want to, but for them to say that I have to identify them as a they or as a woman when clearly they haven't made the transition, that's pushing their particular ideals onto me. If they want to consider themselves that, or if they have a group of friends that they consider themselves that, that's fine. But to push their particular ideas on me,
I'm not going to. If they're my cashier, I'm just going to say thank you and move on. But I am not going to bash them or hurt them. But I also don't think they should change their sex surgically, because do they ever show how many people are regretful of it? They don't really show that very often.
There's over 100. Yeah, they do. There's over 100 people who have transitioned who want to detransition now. It's up on YouTube.
Well, where did Johnny go?
I'm right here.
Okay, well,
you're also
what I
said a little bit.
I'll let you guys get back to the remainder of the show, which is probably to announce your next show. So
we are done, but we do have one last minute to hear if you have any neighbors or friends that are transgender, and how do you see them being treated out there?
Oh, you're asking me? How do I see them being
No,
treated?
Joe.
Oh, he left. He hung up.
Oh, okay. Did we get anything from him? Because I had a little distraction here with my earphone when he was telling his story.
He sounds like he was able to get through. Fine, we heard him.
No, I don't. What was his view? His view. He just talked about that one story. The one story, but yeah. Nobody wants to get involved.
He said that he was open to people being whatever they wanted, but I think he felt like the pronouns was infringing on him. That's what he said.
Exactly what I said. The pronouns infringe on me. I don't want to have to do that. I come up to you, I view you as I view you, and that is how I am going to say, hey, thanks, ma'am, or if it comes out, I don't want to have to be like scolded and told,
right.
I do not go by that. Well, I know it hurts. Okay, it hurts all of us. When I was little and the postman said, hello, boys, and I had a little pixie cut, my brother had a crew cut, I had a pixie cut, they were in, but he said that. Oh, my God, that hurt me. I was sad. My heart was broken. I was embarrassed. I was sad. How could he think I was a boy? I mean, no, I still remember that. It was like a dagger went through my heart. It was like I just wanted to run home, and my brother didn't tease me or anything, but he probably saw how much that hurt. He could feel the energy of the hurt it caused me at that moment that I will never forget. So this stuff does run deep, but I never told a single soul until now how much that hurt me that somebody thought I was a boy. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, some people push it a little too far. They push it too far. And I did not know that Charlize Theron was preaching about it to her kid and encouraging it.
I've also heard Angelina Jolie is doing something similar.
Because if you're a kid in a weak point, you're a kid. Your brain is not fully developed. You might make that turn and follow the parent. Well, and really regret it and hate the parent so much. It ruins a lot of people's lives. And then you may not be able to have kids, or just find life is a lot harder that way.
You know, I was going to say, there is a movie about a real person. It was actually one of the first transgenders of all time. She's a tennis player. Well, she's a woman now. It's called Second Serve. And I'm telling you, watching that movie will make you so mad. Because
really?
because what it is they have this boy who's being raised by this really, really tough lady and a very, very passive dad, and this boy is forced to dress up wear dresses and play dress up with his sister.
That's been happening. That's what the caller said. That was happening.
It would make you so mad if you saw it.
Is this because they wanted to have a girl instead, and so they just
I think that's
you're going to wear
what
dresses?
it is. Yeah, I do think that's what it is, because I think that
they're insane.
Because what happens is that there is some. Okay, this is what I think is okay. There are some women who have problems with some of the basic things that makes men men. It's sort of like a man, and I'm not talking about like boys will be boys situation. I'm just talking about like a man is going to look at things a certain way, see things a certain way, different than a woman would. And I think some moms just don't like that. They just don't like, the idea of that. Or it could go the other way. I mean, a person could not like some of the things that makes a woman a woman. Like, for example, they may think, this okay, well, you're not going to be able to do certain things because you're a woman. So they may try to raise you as more of a tomboy. But
they will also try to raise the boy because they want to keep the little boy near them, the mama's boy, and they can alter a person to become very wimpy. The parent, yes, they have a lot of control. They do have a lot of control. Well, I think I'm going to go because I seem to be making somebody really sick here as I do the show just by what I'm saying. So I think we're done. And follow us on everywhere. Life, Laughter, Happiness is everywhere. Life, Laughter, Happiness radio show on Facebook, I think, is the most active. So go there and also follow our show on Blog Talk Radio. So you will get all of our show updates, which are usually Tuesdays and Fridays. No, Tuesdays and Fridays. Never forget. All right, and maybe even more during Christmas time. All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you, Johnny. Good night.